So I started running my spaghetti for all my lights. So I've got one wire here. I'm going to figure out how to do it, and it's going to be a reading light. So I've got to figure out how that's going to set up, but at least I've got power there. And I've got another one run up here coming out, which is going to be a light over the kitchen table and attached to the fan. And those both have their own on and off switches. Then I've got another one going over there in the front, kind of hard to see coming down, for another light that has a switch on it that I'm not going to run it to the front. And then I've got one going up through here and coming out here. That's going to go to the USB port. And it's going to have a meter on it to tell you what my voltage is on my battery, and a USB port because my sink's going to be right here, and it's got a rechargeable USB faucet. So now what I'm doing is writing down, let's see if I can see it upside down, kind of hard to see, but writing down what everything goes to so I know where the wires are. And then I'm going to set up a panel, I think right there, right here. Because I'm going to put my power box right here, the panel right there in a cabinet, and then I've got to measure it out right there, and that's where my refrigerator is going to go, which that'll plug into this pigtail here. And I've got to have solar, and I want to do a DC to DC charger, so we'll figure that out. But I'm trying to get it. We'll see what happens. I got the wires all in place. I'm sure I'm gonna need some more, maybe. But I kind of laid it out how I want it to be. So from this area here is gonna be a bench that will make into a bed. It'll just be like a table in a camper, the old campers. And that'll be where my solar generator power box goes. And then my Coleman stove there, and I'll have some just some shelves in there so I can store some stuff, maybe a small countertop. And then from here on will be my electric 12-volt refrigerator / ice chest. So this is 48 inches by 70 inches. So sleeping corner to corner, I should have no problem. I doubt if my wife is ever going to come camping with me, probably not. But the sink area will go here. This is 16 inches from the wall. That is also 16 inches. The Coleman stove is 12 inches wide. I'm not sure how long it is. I'll have to measure it. And my sink that's going here is 15 inches. So it's going to have a 1/2 inch overlay. I'm not going to have a ton of space, but it's okay. So I'm pretty happy with that. I've already changed the tape a couple times on everything to make it pretty much equal. I was thinking about coming out into here, but I don't need to make that any smaller. It's not like I'm living in this thing. But that'll work out good. I got 29 inches between here, which will fit that refrigerator ice chest. So that should be plenty good. I just got to figure out exactly the height I want everything. I think the top of this rubber is 29 inches. So I might have the top go a little bit lower, like a little backsplash. It doesn't need to be that high. And then these I'll go up higher so it'll hold the pads in place. I'm going to make pads that go on here, and the two pads that fit in the middle, one will go on this side, one will go on that side for the back. So that should be good. I'm sure I'm going to have to do it a couple times, but we'll see how it works. Like I said, I don't know if I said it earlier, I'm probably going to have one piece of plywood here and bolt these 2 benches to the plywood, and then just mount them to the truck itself, to the van. And then I have a pedestal that's going to go here that'll hold the table, and when it's done, when I take the pedestal out, it'll sit down and make the bed. And then these cabinets, I'll probably just bolt them in either place. There's plenty of room underneath here, but not under here. There's the gas tank and odds and ends there, the leaf springs and the axle, so it's hard to get to. So we'll see. I'm going to continue on and see what happens. It's time to get started on doing some of the lower walls in the van. So all 3 of my sons are in construction. 2 of them work for the company that I retired from, and the other one is a union rep now. And he used to work for the company that I worked for. But they get a lot of this stuff. They do mock-ups on the jobs, and they use it for a little bit and don't like it and toss it. So I got this nice 1/2-inch plywood, and I'm going to use that for a sidewall. They're 10-foot lengths, and just so happens this side right here is 10 feet. So I'm going to cut it to height and then see if I can't get the wheel well cut out and just put in place for now. And then I've got a bunch of them, but I only have 2 of them here. And then I've got another one for this side here. And we'll see if we can't get that just set in place and figure out what I'm gonna do to get it to work. I've got it cut to length and width or height. And this is the wheel well. So I'm gonna cut that out and see, and then I'll have the gas filler that I have to get it up close to and try and trace that out. So we'll see. I'd rather it be a little bit small first. We'll see what happens. You can always cut off more, you can't add more. First wheel well cut out. Now let's see what happens. It's gonna be tough getting it in and out of the seat, and I've got the seat moved all the way forward and it's still a little tough, but we'll see what happens. First attempt is a success. I got lucky once again. Now I have to really reach my arm in there and try and cut out where the fuel filler is. The hard part is going to be getting it over past all the light plugs that stick out for the tail light. We'll see. I'm sure I'm going to have to notch a few things, but it's all good. This is what I came up with, trying to measure off the wheel well. We'll see what happens. The old saying, measure twice, cut once. I don't think that applies here. At least not with me. Someone who knows what they're doing, maybe. We'll see. Well, that part's done. Doesn't look too bad, but we'll see if it fits. I might have to cut a little bit more out on the edges, I think. We'll see. Here we go. All right, I put it in and took it out. I've got to go about 1/4 inch on both sides and only up about 2 inches. And it's just tight here, everything else fits. Number 2. All right, super cool. It's real tight, I'm happy with that. It's gonna get cabinets over it and everything. I had to notch out a little spot there and cut about 1.25 inches off there so it fits. So I'm happy with that. Now, since I'm doing so good and real confident with myself, I'm gonna go grab that other piece and see if I can't get started on that before it rains. Stay tuned. Got the second piece cut to length and width, and all the plywood he gave me has this little lip on it, which is gonna work out great. But this part, this has been left out in the weather. I'm gonna re-glue this and nail it back in place before I start cutting the wheel well out. And then the way this side of the van is, I'm going to have to add, the other one has a little 1/2 inch piece of plywood past it. This one I might have to add 1 inch or so. Once I get the wheel well cut out and set in place, then I'll measure that, have to rip that, and then get that put in place. So this side is different from the other side. The other side just has these braces going all the way up. This one has this railing. Maybe it's because of the door to stiffen it up. So I had to add 2 pieces of 1/2 inch plywood there, and I just screwed it over there. And then this has nothing, it's just flapping in the wind. So I made a little brace that I can screw to this rib here and put it in there and hold it out and give me something to screw to. Just like that. I'll get it all set how it's supposed to be. Let's see if I can try it again with one hand. Yeah, just like that. And that way I can screw it to that. And then that'll work out good for this corner here, because this corner here is gonna go straight into that. The only problem is I've got this on this side and I don't have that on the other side. It looks like it was out at one time. I don't know why. I might take it out. We'll see what happens. So anyways, now I've got this kind of set up, held in place. I need to get some 2-inch sheet metal framing screws to go through the 3 pieces of plywood and into that brace right there. And then I can put some screws in here. I've got some wood screws for that. And then I can put the board in front of it and cut the wheel well out and see what happens. Perfect. This is where the tire jack used to be. All right, I have my pattern drawn out, and now I'm going to cut it. It looks like it's a little bit different on one side than the other, but let me double check before I cut. Well, that's in. I do need to cut a tiny bit off the corner, but I've cleaned up, I'm done. It's getting close to rain, but I had to cut around those lights and stuff like that, and had to shim it out and this and that. But I still need to get my table saw out and cut a rip, about an inch long rip by like 5'10", something like that. And then that side will be done. Then I need to figure out my wiring, blah, blah, blah. And this is done too. I'll need to poke holes in it and get the wiring out. I'll need to take it all apart and put the insulation in and all that. But that was a good day's work. I'm gonna say that's the end of this video. And I'll get some more going. Probably tomorrow, the next day. It's supposed to be raining the next couple of days, so I might not be doing anything. We'll see. Talk to you soon.